What is this garbage you're watching? I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Hello folks, welcome to another episode of that Gang Stalking Show. My name is Doug, I'm a TI, and I've been a TI since 2004. I give that introduction every time, just in case you're a new viewer and you want to know what my deal is. What you talking about, Willis? All right, today is what? Today is Wednesday, the 14th of October, 2020. Today's topic is, it's kind of hard to call this a topic. I've been searching for something called like gang stalking induced PTSD or PTSD as a result of gang stalking, but I don't know if that exactly fits the bill. I belong to a lot of TI groups on Facebook. I was a part of a lot more, but targeting attracts a lot of people who I believe have mental illness and are not really being targeted. There are a lot of people, and I know this because I've worked in the mental health profession for a long time. I've worked with thousands and thousands of people with psychosis, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, major depression. I've talked to people who are psychotic. I've talked to people who are actually hallucinating. Yeah, God's talking to me right now, or the devil's talking to me, or angels are talking to me, or why are you reading my thoughts? All these kind of things. And I'm a pretty good judge of when somebody is loopy. Now, with that said, targeting can drive people to be loopy. I know, because it's driven me loopy on an occasion. And that's basically what I want to talk about, is when targeting drives you to the point that everything in your life is associated with targeting. Now, I've tried to talk about this in other videos. My point being, the main point takeaway is that for the majority of us, everything that is being done to rent space right up here. That's all they want to do. They want to get in here and they want to rent that space. That's all they want to do. I've never had anybody lay a hand on me, though I have had, I don't know how many threats on my life. Can't count them. How many times I was supposed to be, that was supposed to happen, and it never happened. I've just learned the best way to deal with this is, if you see it going on, document it. And then after you document it, forget about it. Forget about it. Because if you hold on and you cling on to that and make that your entire day, it's going to ruin your day. And then it's going to ruin your night's sleep, and it's going to ruin your next day, and the next day after that, and the sleep, everything. It's going to ruin everything. What prompted me to do this video is that, you occasionally see the video of someone saying, this is irrefutable proof I'm being stalked by a drone. And just the other day, or it's a helicopter, or it's a plane. I'm not saying those things don't happen. But even in my case, when the one headlight things happen, I don't worry about it. I don't think about it. I drive a car 10 to 12 hours a day, and at nighttime I drive 2, 3, 4 hours at night, and I see a lot of one headlights. I have been through the one headlight campaign, and I know what that's about. But every night I see vehicles with one headlight out, right headlight out, left headlight out, tail lights out, blinkers out. And the thing about that it doesn't concern me is, number one, I'm just not concerned. But number two, my headlight was out in my car several months ago. And right now, with the COVID thing going on, a lot of people, their cars are getting in disrepair, but not to the point that they can't drive their car anymore. They're just driving it with one headlight, one blinker, whatever. And I know this because people are not getting their vehicles inspected and getting these things fixed. and people are not going to the DMV to get their car registered because the DMV shut down. I mean, I've got a letter on my wall right over here, vehicle inspection and registration notice, and it's telling me what to do when it comes time to do it. And it's basically telling me that we've been shut down and we're postponing your inspection and all this other kind of stuff. So when I drive, I see a lot of one headlights, but it doesn't trigger me at all. I think what happens, especially to newer targets who have not been, in the program for very long, is that once you become sensitized, which is a form of classical conditioning, Google the word classical conditioning. It is an absolute necessity that you understand what classical conditioning is. Once you have been conditioned to see something, the hope in the targeting program is that you will forever associate whatever that stimuli was. For example, if you were conditioned to see one headlight, from there on out, they hope that every time you see one headlight, it will spook you. Car alarms going off. I had that several times for like a month. This was back in 2005, 2006. I would pedal my bicycle to the supermarket or to the grocery store. Hey, they're both the same, aren't they? And to like Barnes & Noble or go see a movie. And every time I pedal up into the parking lot, blah, 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 5, 6, 7 car alarms go off. I park my bike, lock it, go into the supermarket, come out, and as soon as I come out the double doors, wah, 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 and that would happen. That happened for like a month. It was a campaign. I'd be lying to say that if I did not, every time I hear a car alarm, I'm to the point now where I really don't associate it with that. But it does kind of remind me in the back of my mind. But I don't go, oh my God, that's a gang stalker over there. They're trying to hit me with the car alarms. The other day, somebody on Facebook said, I've got proof that drones are following me. Now, you got a cell phone camera and it's at nighttime and you're trying to capture whatever it is that is a mile away or half a mile away, and it's just a little dot and it's flashing. And I tried to offer some support to this person to help them to get through their day. And the person's like, nice try, bud. Like, I'm trying to troll him. I'm not trying to troll him. I'm trying to turn it on its head and to see it for what it could be, not for what you think it is. It's like the one headlight things. Instead of me going around every night, oh, there's one headlight. That's a perp. There's one headlight. That's a perp. The right headlight, the left headlight. It doesn't register with me anymore. I guess it's because I've been in the game for so long that I've learned how to deprogram myself and not get all caught up in the nonsense. Because like I said in the beginning of the video, all they want to do is rent your headspace. They want to keep you focused. They want to keep you, engaged. And even long after they've done whatever they did to rouse you or razz you, whatever, they're not going to do anything else other than try to get in your head. I don't know of anybody that's ever been assaulted. I've heard of people being assaulted, but for the majority of the targeted individuals out there, I would say that 95% of us don't get assaulted. Now, we get everything else thrown at us, but we don't get assaulted. And that goes back to how the Stasi did this. The secret Stasi police didn't go around beating people up, though that would have probably been an effective tool. They found a way to get to people to where people would beat their own self up in their mind. That's the psychological warfare tactics, that's the classical conditioning, that's the behavioral modification, and that is tactics of propaganda. You try to get into somebody's head. Now, if you people are old enough to remember Vietnam, along the DMZ, I understand a lot of you don't know Vietnam and what it was about, but I grew up in the era where my dad he did a tour of duty 1 year in Vietnam. Seen a lot of Vietnam movies, read some books on it, in documentaries and whatnot. Along the DMV, you got Charlie out there with his big horn on a telephone pole or up in a tree, trying to shout out hundreds of yards to the GI Joes that are out there fighting the North Vietnamese. And they're telling them stuff like, "Hey, Joe, this ain't your war. Wouldn't you like to go home to that nice warm bed?" And they would have someone who had good English, good command of the language, fill their head full of propaganda so they would defeat the spirit of the warrior in the military, U.S. military, the military from Australia, the Canadians, everybody who was in on fighting the North Vietnamese. And so these proven psychological tactics have been proven to deteriorate, the thinking of the person who they're trying to attack. And they're much more effective than actually going bam, bam, bam. You don't have to beat up anybody with your fist. You can do it with psychological propaganda. Now this guy is trying to tell me, watch these 4 videos and you can just see that drone up there. Number one, I couldn't tell it was a drone. I saw something flying. I saw a flashing light. Could have been a plane. It could have been a helicopter. And here's what I asked him. Here's what I told him. I said, dude, before I would ascribe that to someone following me, number one, I would ask myself, is there a local hospital nearby? What does that have to do with it? Because you've got choppers flying in and out, medevacing people from all over your area within a 50, 75-mile area who are sending choppers all over the skies at nighttime and during the day. So if you get a lot of traffic like that, that could be, one of the reasons why you're seeing so much traffic, because you're close to a hospital and they're shipping people in and out on a chopper. Number two, nighttime is not a good time to fly your aircraft. I don't know how to fly an aircraft. I've always wanted to. I've watched some documentaries on flying and stuff like that, and I picked up a little bit here and there. And I know this, you have to designate a flight plan before you leave the airport for planes and helicopters. You can't simply go, I'm going to follow this flight plan, and this flight plan is going to include, I'm going to go here, then I'm going to go there, and I'm going to follow this car around. You can't follow a flight plan like that. You got to say where you're going to take off and where you're going to land, the airspace you're going to be in, the height you're flying at, the time you take off, the time you land, everything. Because they need to know where everybody is in the airspace. The people that don't have to follow a flight plan with the FFA, that's over at Area 51 and places like that. They're not going to call the FFA and go, FAA, not Future Farmers of America, and go, hey, guess what? We got our new UFO spacecraft. We're about to go from one side of the coast to the other. They're not going to tell them that. But everybody else, they have to follow that. So, I'm trying to tell that guy, and I'm also trying to tell him, look, something else to think about. Fuel is expensive for these vehicles. Not renting, but hiring someone, paying some hundreds of dollars an hour to simply follow Joe Blow around to get in his headspace, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I know there's people out there who are absolutely going nuts, going, yeah, they pay people to follow you around in planes. And I go, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think what happens is you go through a campaign of harassment and you're bombarded with all of this stuff. These one headlights that are actually one headlights harassing you. They're trying to get you sensitized to these various stimuli, whatever it may be. And then once you go through that campaign, it takes a long time to deprogram. I had a campaign in 2018 that lasted from August to September. And during that entire campaign, I was on edge all the time. I was what you would call, what is the word? Hypervigilant. I was looking around, situational awareness everywhere. I was trying to say, is that a threat? Is that a threat? Is that a threat? Are they harassing me? I was constantly doing that. And it takes a while to come down from that. It's kind of like getting high or getting drunk. Once you're initially intoxicated, it takes a while to come down and get your right frame of mind in. And to think that someone is sending aircraft in the air to harass you, I'm pretty much a believer that it's not happening. Well, the military is using a drone. Military is not going to send a drone into U.S. airspace to target just some targeted individual. I'm not saying drones are not up there. They are up there. But they're up there on specific missions like espionage missions, following, I just watched something last night on TV about Russian spies in America, and they had drones up there, you know, flying around, keeping an eye on these 2 or 3 targets. I don't think that you got a drone up there and they're gonna go, hey, guess what? Take your eyes off those Russian targets. We got Joe Blow in Tupelo, Mississippi. He's a high-value targeted individual. What's he done? We don't know what he's done. Just fly around and circle him over and over and over. I don't think things like that happen, people. I just don't think that the government is going to take their resources and divert it from a particular mission to go harass you. And the other thing about these videos where you're putting these videos of, I got proof, look at it like this. Go get your best video of the moon tonight or the next time when the moon comes out. And then post that video to YouTube. That big moon that you saw with your eyes, when you get it on camera, it's like this itty bitty thing. It's like this little speck of light. You can't even tell how far away is it or anything. And with these flights going over at nighttime, you can't see any intent to harass you. You just see a plane slowly going by. You could just be, it's a coincidence. But my point is that when you go through an intense campaign of harassment, you are highly hyper vigilant. You're in a sense of fight or flight, and you're constantly looking for a new threat. Kind of like when veterans come home from, conflict. Rocket fire, grenades, bullets, gunfire, all this kind of stuff. All of this stuff that you had to go through, and you almost lost your life, you got shot, you come home, you're kind of okay, but you're not okay, you're drinking a lot, you're sweating, you're wondering what's going on. That's PTSD. So what happens during the 4th of July and New Year's when fireworks go off? It triggers you to go back to that bad place. So what happens when you've gone through a bad campaign that lasted X amount of days or weeks or a month or so? You're always, every time you get in the public, excuse me, you're looking for that new threat. And this is what I would say to address that and to get your head back and to stop renting this space up here to them. This space belongs to you, not them. Reclaim your mind. Forget about it. If you see something going on, my situational awareness goes to one of 2 things. I look at the situation, I go, is this situation potentially harmful to me? No. What is it? It's just people harassing me. Are they gonna get stupid and get up in my face? No, they're not gonna do that. But if they do, I've got a gun, I got pepper spray, I got a baseball bat, I got a tire tool, I got a pocket knife, I got everything I need to protect myself. So I don't care what they're saying, whatever they're trying to perpetrate, it doesn't matter to me. Because to me, they're not a threat, they're a nuisance. It's like a fly that keeps flying around. That's all it is. And the sooner you ascribe that it's nothing more than a nuisance than it is a threat, the sooner you'll get your life back, and you'll stop worrying about planes flying around. You'll stop worrying about one headlights and people playing with their nose, playing with their ears, or whatever else you were conditioned to see. And I tell you, you need to stop renting your headspace to these people, because that's all they can do to 95, 98% of us is screw with your head. That's it. I was watching Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and I can't remember the guy he had on, but the guy he had on was this legit journalist, and his buddy was there there as well, and they were talking about Bob Lazar. The whole thing of this Joe Rogan podcast was about UFOs. And they were talking about Bob Lazar, how legit he is, all this kind of stuff. And they were talking about how Bob Lazar was targeted by the government, because once he came out and he discussed Area 51 and Element 151 or whatever that element is, and they're like, you can't punch holes in Bob Lazar's story. But there was a time when Bob Lazar thought they were going to off him, and they were saying they would go into his house, they would rearrange his furniture, they'd go out to his car, unlock his car, leave his car windows down, leave his doors open, leave his gas, your gas fuel thing open, and just rearrange things. And that's creepy. People that do stuff like that, that creeps you out. And Bob Lazar was thinking he was going to get off. Well, Bob is still around. They do this stuff to get up in here. And the sooner you can recognize that and come to grips with that and come to terms with that and go, well, that's all they're doing. I really shouldn't be paying attention to this person over here. It's like looking at a mouse and being afraid of a mouse. And looking at the mouse and not recognizing it's just a harmful mouse, but seeing the mouse as this wicked, vicious crocodile that's coming to get you, that's going to eat you. Every time you see that mouse, you're going, oh, 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 up here. Don't do that. I'm not saying they can't do nasty things. They can do very nasty things. But I'm just saying, don't rent your headspace to all this stuff. The sooner you just start living your life, the better off you'll be. The more grounded you'll be. The less obsessed with this program you'll be. Because you got to remember something, people. You're still alive. You still got a heartbeat. You still need to do whatever it is you need to do in your life. Don't let this stuff eat you up and consume you. Like today, if I leave here and something happens today, I got a notepad in my car. I jot notes all the time. Notes all the time. I got piles of notes on my desk. Some are related to targeting and some are not. Some are related to other things. But if something happens, I'll just jot down the time, the incident, what happened, describe it to the best of my ability, objectively, and then if there's an opinion in there, I'll write it. My opinion is yada, 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 but the facts are yada, yada, yada. You don't weave the two in together, because you start weaving facts along with opinions, you end up being a journalist for CNN or MSNBC or some other fake news media. That's what happens when you wrap facts with opinions. Now that's going to do it for this show. Please hit that like button. Please share and please subscribe, because that shows Google that this is a worthy channel, and worthy channels get more airplay. You guys have a great day, and don't rent your headspace out to these fools.